Standing in the center of a crystal chandeliered ballroom filled with 200 wealthy guests, I felt my heart shatter into 1,000 pieces. My own daughter Chloe had just walked past me, took the microphone from the master of ceremonies, and introduced me not as her father who worked 3 jobs to raise her, but as an old neighbor who lived down the street. She smiled as if those soul-crushing words meant absolutely nothing to her, while the room broke out into light, polite laughter. I stood there, frozen, humiliated, and ready to walk away forever. But just as I turned toward the exit, the groom stepped forward, grabbed the microphone, stopped the entire wedding in its tracks, looked straight at me, and said, "Sir, they need to know who you really are." Chloe froze in total shock as the room went dead silent. For 22 years, I gave up everything for Chloe. When my wife passed away shortly after Chloe was born, I promised to give my daughter the best life possible. Despite working as a humble mechanic, I worked 16-hour days, saved every dollar, and sacrificed my own comfort to put her through a top-tier university. When she graduated, she landed a job at a prestigious firm and met Julian, a brilliant, compassionate man from a prominent family. Over time, I noticed Chloe becoming distant and ashamed of my working-class background. She rarely visited, and when she did, she complained about my worn hands and simple home. The breaking point arrived on her wedding day. The ceremony was held at an exclusive luxury estate. I spent my life savings on a custom suit just to look presentable for her big moment. Yet when I arrived, Chloe looked at me with disgust and asked me to sit in the back corner, away from the VIP family tables. I swallowed my pride and sat quietly, happy just to witness her special day. During the reception speeches, Chloe stood up to thank the guests. She acknowledged her wealthy mother-in-law, her influential colleagues, and her prestigious friends. Then she pointed toward my quiet corner and casually said, "I also want to thank our old neighbor Arthur, who kindly stopped by today to wish us well." The humiliation was overwhelming. The guests chuckled, assuming I was just a friendly stranger. Tears welled up in my eyes, and I turned to leave, quietly, not wanting to cause a scene on her special day. But before I could reach the double doors, Julian stepped away from Chloe, grabbed the main microphone, and demanded everyone to halt. He looked at Chloe with profound disappointment before turning his gaze directly toward me. Julian told the entire room that he could no longer stay silent while a hero was being disrespected. Julian explained to the shocked audience that 5 years ago, his family business faced a sudden financial crisis that nearly left them bankrupt. During that desperate time, an anonymous angel investor stepped in and paid off their predatory loans anonymously, saving their company and their family honor. Julian revealed that just 3 days before the wedding, while finalizing the event invoices, he discovered the true identity of that benefactor. It was not a hedge fund or a wealthy relative. It was me. Years ago, I had quietly invested a small inheritance into a modest local startup that grew exponentially over 2 decades. When I learned through Julian about his family's struggle back when he was just Chloe's friend, I used those gains to save his family without taking a single cent in return or asking for praise. I never told Chloe because I wanted her to value people for who they are, not what they own. Julian looked at Chloe, whose face was now entirely pale and trembling with shame. Julian said to the crowd, "This man is not an old neighbor. He is Arthur, the man who saved my family, and he is the father who sacrificed every single day so Chloe could stand here today in this dress." The entire room erupted into applause, while Chloe fell into tears, begging for my forgiveness, as the reality of her cruelty crashed down upon her. I looked at Chloe crying in front of 200 silent guests who now knew the truth. I walked up to Julian, shook his hand with deep gratitude, and told him he was a good man. Then I looked at Chloe and gently said that true dignity comes from how you treat those who built you up when you had nothing. I left the reception with my head held high, knowing I had raised a daughter who needed to learn a hard lesson, but leaving behind a room that finally knew the truth.